sorry, that spreadsheet can be imported into Instantly, or create a custom audience on Facebook and now retarget them for the next 3 months, 6 months. Like, just stalking your lead list, the safe word for stalking is retargeting or custom audiences on ad networks. So to translate that to people, that allows your ad to only show up to those people. And you know what? You may only spend $1 a day. Like, if you can't afford that as an approach, hustle harder so you can, because it can make a massive difference. Because that one strategy is like, man, I've seen your stuff everywhere. And so when they get your email, when they get your phone call, when they get your DMs, they're like, man, I've heard of this guy before. I'm seeing his ads. Like, he must be big.
Yo, what is happening, my fellow side hustlers, and even those who are full-time hustlers? My name is Elijah Bilel, and I'd like to welcome you to another podcast episode from the Side Hustler Society. I want to start off by asking you a question. What is something that you probably know you should be integrating into your business or side hustle, but you keep talking yourself out of it, even though it could have massive benefits for your business? I think all of us can probably agree that that one thing is probably AI. And if this isn't you and you've been leveraging AI in your business or your trade or skill to maximize your revenue and efficiency, well, congratulations. It never hurts to just enhance your skills or knowledge on AI, right? And that's exactly what this podcast episode is going to be about. Joining me for today's podcast is Benjamin Bressington. Benjamin Bressington is a dynamic speaker, author, and CEO of Automate Boring, a leader in RPA and AI solutions. With a background in law and criminology from Australia, Benjamin spent over a decade helping Fortune 1000 companies integrate gamification principles into their sales and communication strategies. He has also helped launch an AI that builds robot employees to help anyone automate their business. Today, he leverages his AI automation and human behavior expertise to help companies streamline their operations, boost productivity, and enhance profitability. Benjamin is also the author of multiple books, including his latest, People Ignorant, Unlocking Success, Confidence, and Influence. When he's not designing algorithms for persuasion or finding new ways to automate the mundane, you can find him cycling an average of 150 miles a week. If you're curious about how AI and automation can transform your business, this is a conversation you won't want to miss. So now that we've covered his bio, which is very extensive in itself, let's go ahead and hit that intro and bring him on to the show.
Welcome to the Side Hustlers Society podcast, the place where you can find out more about the hustles that are best for you. And of course, make more money in the process. Elijah has been in the gig economy and freelance space for over 8 years and has done over 4,000 deliveries on Uber Eats. Has several video editing clients, many properties on Airbnb, runs multiple YouTube channels, and is the author of the best-selling book, The Anatomy of Financial Success. It's his mission to empower people with the tools needed to be successful. Now, welcome your host, the king of the side hustles, Elijah Bilel.
Okay, we're officially on. Ben, can you hear me good?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, that's good to hear. Now, I trust your day is going pretty well so far.
The day's gone fantastic. There's always something new to learn, something to get done. It's exciting times.
Yeah, indeed. Both exciting and eventful, for better or for worse, but we're going to focus on the better, right?
Exactly. Hey, and look, even with every side hustle, crap happens. Clients cancel, clients get frustrated, delays happen in projects. One of the best things I've found, here's a tip for everybody up front already, is like, approach that stuff head on, and standing up and having that conversation, the awkward conversation with the client. Like, I had to send that email to someone this morning. I'm like, hey, I know the project that we were doing hasn't turned out to your expectations, and let me clarify what's actually going on. Because sometimes expectations are different. And I find that people respect that more. And that's one of the biggest things I know I've had to learn. So what I've learned is when stuff goes wrong, it's actually one of your best opportunities to win trust and respect and greater rapport with somebody. And I used to run away from that and shy from that. So I know we're talking about that. And I know that's a hard lesson I had to learn when I was trying to bootstrap myself together. Like, confrontation was kind of scary.
Well, honestly, you say that like it's a personal thing for you, but I think you're speaking for everyone. You're just the person brave enough to actually say it because we're not really. Hmm, well, I don't think society does this on purpose. We're kind of conditioned to not have any kind of conflict resolution skills. And that's very important if you're going to be an entrepreneur. And like you said, oftentimes this can strengthen trust between you and a client or just you and people in general. I think a great example I could give of this. I've had several things every now and then go wrong with like some of my rental units that are on Airbnb.
Hmm.
For instance, a good example, it was during one of the many snowstorms that the Dallas Fort Worth area can't seem to get rid of every single year. But
Hmm.
there was a pipe that it busted, not to where like it's water damage or anything, but it was affecting the smell in the unit because it was connected to the washer. So there was like a tangy smell, and the guest let me know about it. I told him we would get the maintenance crew in there ASAP, and he sent me a picture. Here, I think I found out what the issue is. And once he showed it to me, I knew automatically, oh, wait, that's connected to the washer. So the maintenance crew got in there and addressed the problem. And I told them, hey, just for the inconvenience, how about refund you, additional $30 off your stay just for the inconvenience? And it turns out that he was satisfied with that, and he left a 5-star review stating that we address, maintenance comes very fast if something is an issue. But besides that said issue, I didn't have any problems. So now
Yeah.
people can book with me knowing that, hey, if something does happen, he's going to jump on it right away because stuff sometimes it happens and it's out of our control. But that was an
Stuff
opportunity.
always happens.
Yeah.
Like there's always weather. There's like you can't control freezing. Sometimes you can't control that. There was an assumption that a client had a system in operation, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't. Like they may not even be using a CRM. So if you're doing some services and you're integrating with a CRM, and they're like, "Where's all the data going?" You're like, "It's going into your CRM." Oh, well, I don't use that. I use Google Sheets. I'm like, well, like there's a whole lot that happens in miscommunication, I think, and yeah, using that as an opportunity. I can give people a framework if you want on how to have those conversations. And it wasn't only until I learned this. I think it's from the book "No Is the Way." It's by an ex FBI guy,
Mm.
or maybe it's "The Power of No" or something. And it's one of the things that the FBI guys do. It's like
Yeah,
they
what
said
is this book? Yeah, this
it's a
person
really
was
good
able
book.
to negotiate with terrorists that had like hostages, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Get
yeah,
them
yeah,
stand
yeah,
down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really, really good book. It's well worth. I listen to it like maybe every few months just to try to re-anchor a few things. And the framework is simply like just fall on the sword, even if it's not your mistake. Go, I totally agree with you, and I'm disappointed in where this project's at right now, or XYZ happened. Like you being willing to do that because everyone else is kind of beating their chest and brave, and then you can literally ask themselves just like, how should we move forward from here? I want to help you win. I want to create a meaningful experience for you. How would you recommend we move forward? And let them tell you. And it's fantastic because, oh, well, if we can just get this, if we can just do that, or if you can take $5 off. Well, I was going to take 50% off. Like, you only want $5. Like, okay. Like, it opens up a dialogue. And that's part of the power of really hustling your business really well and turning a hustle into a main gig.
And that's what we're all about over here. Obviously, people that want to stay in the side hustle category, we support y'all. Obviously, we're called the Side Hustler Society for a reason. But a lot of people actually want to turn their side hustle into something full time. And I think that's a necessary skill set for you to have if you are going to go into something full time. And kind of bringing it back to the freelancing side of things. Great example I could think of is when I was a social media manager for the rideshare guy. He wanted me to create SOPs for that stands for standard operating procedure for everything that I was doing in terms of uploading videos. If I figured out a new process that got the YouTube channel more views, create a SOP for it. And that requires a level of communication between me and him because obviously the first SOP may be missing some things, based on his expectations. So I dialogue with him about like, hey, what does he need? He tells me what he needs. And then that's my interpretation of what he needs. I implement it. Then he looks at that version. If there's any final adjustments, then he'll let me know. Then the final version is perfected. So that regardless of in the future, if there's another social media manager he hires, that SOP has been perfected and it can benefit his business now. But that whole result started with a dialogue and it kept going until we reached perfection. But it doesn't happen right away. The dialogue is part of the process.
So one of the things I recommend to people is as you're doing tasks, as you're doing things, record a Loom video or open a Zoom and literally do your work while you're recording it on Zoom to capture all of the stuff. And now there's AI tools that you can literally use to actually that'll take the screenshots automatically for you every time you click on something, every time you do something, and like it'll notate it for you. So you can turn your videos into documentation. And sometimes you don't need video, don't need documentation if you've got great video training. Like it's just like, all right, so what I do is I go and click on file, I go click on edit, I go click on this, I move this here. So like you talk to the computer like your assistant. And if you do that, it's a fantastic way to create an SOP library, because I can remember when I was side hustling and how I wanted to transition, I had to start to transition the systems. And my recommendation to anyone who's doing anything right now is work out how you can not automate customer acquisition, but automate fulfillment. Because if you can then focus from once you automate fulfillment or most of fulfillment, you can then really focus on acquisition. A lot of people go in and automate acquisition, and then you're on this hamster wheel of get a client, fulfill a client, get a client, fulfill a client, and you can't get off that hamster wheel. It's far easier to automate acquisition of clients and referrals and things like that than it is to automate the process of fulfilling the services you're offering. And that's one of the big opportunities I see for people right now. And one of the things, like if you're trying to leverage your time and skills, automate the fulfillment of your service to the best of your abilities.
Okay. That's some good advice, because we are going to get into what you said about automating customer acquisition. But one thing that if you do automate this, you have to play around with the scenario that what if your system works very well and you start getting overwhelmed? And if you haven't automated the fulfillment of it to a certain degree, wouldn't you say that you're kind of leaving money on the table at that point?
100%. And sometimes ads have a time window. Like you may only have 3 weeks where you can onboard 150 clients because your ad just crushes it. You got a video that goes viral or something, right? And now, if your fulfillment, you've lost this massive opportunity because people assume that just because I get one ad, it's always going to be working, always going to be running. Well, no, that's a different game. And you went viral once. So then you've got this onslaught of stuff that you can do while you're hot, but the hotness dries out very quickly in a lot of these strategies. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. I mean, everything has the cycles, and that goes for ad campaigns too. And a lot of people plan around the peak of when the ad is sizzling, but eventually it's going to sizzle out. So you need to have a game plan for all phases.
Yeah. And one of the biggest opportunities is the length in time you have to follow up with people who opted in. Newsletters, podcasts, videos, content. Like this is where if you're creating video, you can build automation that can convert your content. So we call it content repurposing into other things. If you're doing audio can be extracted and turned into written transcripts. Transcripts can be turned into social media posts, blog posts, books, you name it. So there's a huge opportunity of people like, well, I've got to go do everything. I'm like, well, that's you're only then going to have a glorified job, and you need to wake up to the fact that like you've just got a high paying job, and that's not really what you're trying to achieve.
Good point. And that's actually a natural tie-in into your company. It's automate boring. Do you want to tell the audience more about your company and what it does?
Yeah, so we help people automate boring, repetitive, tedious tasks, and we build out systems. So one of the things we're actually doing right now is we acquired a supplement, an essential oils company, and we're actually building out the systems to scale this business to in excess of $500,000. Our goal is to actually grow it to that well and truly this year within the next 12 months, but like hit $500,000 a month, hit $1 million a month, and literally I'm documenting the process on how I'm building out the team focused on the automated systems first. Not going, let me go hire a social media manager. Let me go hire this person. Let me go hire that person. It's like, no, let me build out the systems that allow me to then leverage. So then I bring in people who can pull the strings on the systems we're building. So therefore it's more efficient, more effective. And it's a great way to showcase, because everyone's talking about AI automation, right? AI, agents, whatever the buzzword is. Not many people know how to do it. And, or more importantly, how to do it for you. A simple way to do it is have a chatbot on your website. Another simple way is to have an AI agent that can answer your phone 24 hours a day. And when it answers your phone, it follows up with a text message. It adds that person to your CRM system. Like, it moves people through a set of steps and processes that support your business growth automatically. Right. And some of the best systems to use this for, I'm going to give them away to people. Is that all right? Or you want me to hold that off for the end?
Well, I mean, you brought it up, so we might as well tackle it now, right?
All right. So here's 2 systems or 3 systems you can use to start automating your business. And every automation you think about deploying, you should challenge yourself. How do I have this live today? Or how do I have it live by Friday? If it takes you any longer than that, you've overcomplicated it. So the thing is, with that automation, look at tools like N8N, so N8N.io. Look at make.com, make.com, and another one, an easier one, is Zapier. So you should be able to start using those systems, and you can do amazingly complex stuff with all of those 3 systems. You don't have to get anything fancy, and a lot of people think that their automations need to be fancy, whiz bang. It's not. It's nothing like that. It's keep it simple, keep it scalable, and then that allows you to focus on something else, because there's no perfect system. Yes, they will fail from time to time, right? But here's the reality: what you're doing right now isn't perfect. So, like, if the AI could just do it with more consistency than you're doing it now, that's a home run. Some of the best stuff to automate: social media posts, social media creation, content repurposing. Like, if you're doing podcast interviews, like we've got a process that gets me booked on 5 to 10 podcasts every single week, right? That's a system. I'm not involved in it. I literally just show up when I've got to speak. And like, I've already done 4 podcasts, and it's only Wednesday this week already. And I've got like 3 more for the end of the week, right? Every single week. And sometimes that content may take 3 or 6 months to actually get live. But when I do get access to that content, it goes into a system that we've created, that gets it repurposed. It gets cut into 20 or 50 different 5-second to 30-second clips. It gets shared on social media. So then we promote it for the podcaster, which then also helps us look like we're always up to stuff. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, it does make sense. I would ask, just so you can clarify for the audience, because we're using some AI terminology, so some people be like, what is that? But CRM, could you explain what a CRM is? Because some people may not actually know what that is.
Yeah, so a CRM is literally where you store your customer data, client data, lead data. It can be simple. It can be most people when they're side hustling use a notepad, right, on what's going on. So the more advanced version of that is a Google Sheet, or I like to use Airtable. Airtable is a fantastic tool because you can trigger automations based on changes in cells more than you can in Google. So, and that you can use that for free. Doesn't have to cost you anything. There's a lot you can do in Airtable, right? Then you can upgrade into systems like Go High Level or Keep, or there's 1,000 different CRMs. And here's the thing: there is no perfect CRM. It's what works for you. And then everyone else can shut up with their opinions, because everyone will have an opinion. Everyone's heard this, or they didn't like this, or this one, they don't like the mobile, whatever. what's going to work for you and what's going to be effective for you and the ground rules for your operation. That's all that matters.
Nicely put. So I can hear the passion in your voice when you're breaking down just automating things in general. And a lot of this allows people to kind of buy their time back. Because like you said, you don't want to end up just owning a job instead of working a job. You just own a job. So really focusing on automating will really allow you to get your time back so you can invest it in other things. But audience may be wondering, and I'm wondering the same thing, like why is automating like so personal to you? Because I really feel that you're really passionate about this.
Well, it's time freedom. It's the only way for you to get time freedom. And I don't believe that automating with people anymore is the way to do it. There's reliability issues, there's consistency issues. We're having more natural disasters than ever before. So what happens when those systems go offline? And we saw it with COVID, right? The year of 2020, right? Impacted a lot of people not going into the office. People were sick. People died. Like stuff happened. And many companies folded because of they literally had no systems. They weren't equipped to work remote. Now, like this virtual stuff. So the thing is even if you're a one-man band, right? A one-woman band, one-person band, right? You can appear to be 100 times bigger by having a virtual assistant who manages and replies and responds to your emails and can help you do invoicing and stuff like that. That can be one of the best ways to outsource and give you back time freedom. Like, because that means I can go enjoy my life. I can go walk the dog. I can go for a bike ride. I can go have a coffee. I can go have some lunch. Like, that's why you are in this business, right? Like, a lot of people, when they're hustling, get stuck writing proposals. Proposals are one of the worst things that you can do. And if your proposal is taking you longer than 20 minutes, you're not efficient. And no one really cares about your proposal. There's a one page and a few paragraphs they actually care about: the guarantee, the service delivery, and like what's actually included and the price, right? Like it's just those terms, right? And people will spend weeks writing a proposal. Why? Just think of that. Like if you can, instead of writing one proposal a week, what happens if you could write 10 a day? So having a quoting system, standard, and this is connected to standardizing your process. And a lot of people can't automate their business, right? Or their job, their side hustle, because everything they do is unique or custom. Selling custom doesn't allow you to scale. I have this problem all the time. And this is why we're scaling our own supplement company. And this is why, like, I share and literally give my resellers or distributors that we set up, I give them all of the automations, all of the systems. I give them everything and go, hey, here's, just go deploy it. You deploy it, you make money. Right. And this is what's really powerful. And a lot of businesses aren't getting on that bandwagon enough to empower others with automation, because we've got a goal now is we want to help 1 million people a year get healthy. 1 million people a year, like just maybe deal with some rashes or cancers or illnesses they've got, like actually help 1 million people get healthy to improve their life. And then that's allows us to build a really big community around that.
Nice. Yeah, you touched on something. I won't spend too much time on this, but what you mentioned about like custom doesn't allow scale for scale. I think that's why a lot of people are scared, or I won't even use the word scared. I'll say hesitant to do any kind of outbound marketing or outreach, because let's say they're focusing so much on making this customized proposal for a cold client that they've never even met before, and it takes them forever to get one out. And obviously, if you're going to be doing stuff like that, it's going to be a numbers game. So it's more so put as many out there as you can. And
you have to.
Yeah.
But that's on the thought. I think there's one thought that's actually leading to that disaster, that hamster wheel.
What is it?
Do you know what it is?
Well, I think you already kind of touched on it, but feel free to let me in.
Like the thought is they're locked on selling one at a time. Try selling 10 at a time.
Right. Yeah.
Like, how do I sell 10 of these today? How do I sell 10 at a time? That thought process, because then it goes, how do I sell 50 or how do I sell 100 at a time? Because that one thought process changes your whole approach to proposal writing. And if that's all you take away from this weird speaking Australian guy, right? You've taken away one of the most valuable lessons that could 10x your business. And it's easier to 10x a business than it is to 10% it. And this is where what a lot of people don't realize.
Oh yeah, I can personally vouch for that. I'm just going back to the trade or skill I bring to the marketplace is video editing. And I used to focus so much on like the proposal, like you mentioned, customizing it for every single client. And I'm not saying be overly generic, but like you said, there's a few things that people really care about. It's the price, your portfolio, and they just want to know that you've seen some of their work. So if you just include those three things in your email outreach or LinkedIn outreach, whatever, that can be very templated. And if you send, it becomes more of a, okay, let me make sure I have enough leads. So you focus on getting those leads, send that information out there, and some people are going to get back with you. But if you sent 100 of them versus 10 customized, overly customized emails, that you might get one back. But if you send 100, you might get 5, maybe 10 back. And if you close those clients, hey, look, that's a better result than you just spending forever on like one proposal.
100% agree with you. And this is the thing that people need to be aware of. That's what can help you transition your side hustle from like no one likes being on that hamster wheel or seesaw or whatever it is. They all know that feeling, right? It's just like, okay, got a client, worked really hard to get it, fulfill that client, and it's like you lose all momentum. And sometimes all you need with your marketing and lead generation is momentum in a pipeline, because the proposal that you send today may not close today. It may close in 10 months from now.
Exactly.
So the thing is that's why just that one and that's that living paycheck to paycheck mentality too. It's just like, okay, this is what shifts it. I know this you might be like, this guy's an arrogant dick, but okay, right. But the thing is sometimes you just need to hear a hard truth. And I wish somebody told me this stuff earlier in my career.
Right. Well, I can personally say that that's not my opinion of you. You come off as someone that's very genuine and blunt. And that's much needed when you're going to be an entrepreneur, or if you're going to take your side hustle from side hustle to full-time and leave the 9-to-5, your approach to receiving any kind of feedback or truth has got to change. As an employer, you're kind of afraid of that, because if you make a mistake, or there's a fear that's kind of embedded in us as employees, because that's bad as an employee. But as an entrepreneur, it's part of the process. You need that information to make the adjustments needed, upgrade your system, and get you that much closer to getting the result that you want.
100%. And feedback is your biggest opportunity for improvement. And the problem is a lot of people don't even set up a system to get feedback. And if you don't have a system to get feedback, how on earth do you even know if you're messing up or missing an opportunity for you to add another $10,000, $20,000 a month? It's not. And if people think, oh, you must be doing something bigger or better or no, you'll be amazed at the little things you can do that could add literally another $10,000 a month, which that could be the whole life-changing thing for you right now.
Right.
What's up, everyone? Hopefully you're enjoying the broadcast as it's airing right now. One of the most important things that you have to get down if you're going to be a full-time hustler or even be a side hustler is the ability to identify what types of income are involved in your industry and how to create the other types. And I'm not just talking about income as in how the IRS defines them, passive income, portfolio income, etc. On a fundamental level, there are 4 types of income, and these 4 types of income are based on how active that income is and how steady or unsteady that income is. If you want to know the sciences of how to identify the different types of income, how to build those sources of income, as well as the advantages and disadvantages of each type of income, you want to get Chapter 5 of my Amazon best-selling book, The Anatomy of Financial Success. In it, I talk about something I created called the Money Magnifier that allows you the ability to identify what types of income there are out there, what income you should be working towards based on whatever goals or objectives you have for yourself or for your business. Go to www.fachapters.com and you can get Chapter 5 of The Anatomy of Financial Success for free. With that being said, let's get back to the broadcast.
So I guess kind of circling into the, because a lot of people, even going into this show, they really wanted me to ask some questions around the customer acquisition in regards to how AI can assist with that. So we'll go ahead and move in that direction. What would you say are some ways that freelancers can use AI to help them generate leads for their businesses?
Yeah, so I'm a big proponent in using automation to find conversations for you to join on social media. So on X, Twitter, Threads, Facebook, right now, there is people commenting on and discussing the topic, the problem that you can appear to be an expert in. And it's not necessarily about you making a post, right? This is about you joining an existing conversation. And there's some real power in leaving high quality content on posts or videos or where other people have been talking, because that means people will then go to your page. They'll start seeing your content, your videos, your social, which you're working so hard on. So how can you use automation for outreach to find this stuff? And sometimes you might go, look, I have someone in the Philippines that I pay $3 an hour to literally go and comment on 10 different posts for me every single day. And, you know, like I've built systems in the past where it was literally go find me 10 comments, put it into a spreadsheet, right? I will reply to it at night, or when I got coffee, I'll sit there and I'll reply to all 10 at once. Because here's the little hack I found. If I wasn't on Instagram, or I wasn't on TikTok, or if I wasn't on the social media side, I don't lose an hour of my life. But if I go to a Google Sheet or an Airtable and go, here's the comment, here's what they think they should reply, here's what should they reply, I can either edit it, I can write it, and now with ChatGPT, you can just almost generate it instantly, right? And it's 100 times better than me. So the thing is now I can go through a sheet and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in 10 minutes. And now I'm starting to engage people. Like cold email is great. Ads are great. Ads have an uptick. Ads require you to spend money. One of the big things you need to understand is to acquire a customer, you are spending money and time regardless. Right? It doesn't matter. There is no such thing as free client acquisition. Because if you've had to spend 10 hours, 50 hours, 80 hours of content creation, webinars, and then sales calls and all this type of stuff, you're paying. And what you may not realize is that cost of customer acquisition is one of the most expensive ways to acquire a customer.
Wow. You know, when you broke down that process, first thing I thought of, I'm applying all this to me as a video editor, especially back in the day. So and someone might steal this, but I guess feel free to. Free game. But yeah, so I specialize in podcast editing and video editing for podcasts. One thing I did is I Googled I wanted podcasts to have a budget, because there's plenty of podcasts out there that they may be doing it for fun, or they may not have the money to outsource editing yet. So I just Googled like best business podcasts, best finance podcasts, best podcasts about crypto. These are topics that are hosted by businesses that likely have a budget to outsource the editing. And all these articles would pop up, saying the best of these podcasts. So I would take that and I would click on each of their links and just look at their YouTube channel. And if they had a certain subscriber amount and they published content within the last month and they had a big enough back catalog, then I see that they have any clips made from their podcast. The answer is yes or no, whatever. And then I would just put their contact information, whether it be email or X or LinkedIn. And I put all this information on a spreadsheet. And I would do that for like about 3 or 4 hours, but it would give me like a spreadsheet of around 75 leads. And hearing the process you just said, it's so robotic and boring. I had to put some music on just to keep myself sane to do it. That could have been outsourced to that VA in the Philippines, like you said, for $3 an hour. And all of a sudden, I have this spreadsheet where they've already been kind of evaluated that they have the budget. So now I can begin contacting them with my outreach strategy. Hey, Ben, you're muted.
sorry, that spreadsheet can be imported into Instantly, or create a custom audience on Facebook and now retarget them for the next 3 months, 6 months. Like, just stalking your lead list, the safe word for stalking is retargeting or custom audiences on ad networks. So to translate that to people, that allows your ad to only show up to those people. And you know what? You may only spend $1 a day. Like, if you can't afford that as an approach, hustle harder so you can, because it can make a massive difference. Because that one strategy is like, man, I've seen your stuff everywhere. And so when they get your email, when they get your phone call, when they get your DMs, they're like, man, I've heard of this guy before. I'm seeing his ads. Like, he must be big. I'm like, no, it's just you in your bedroom, your kitchen, whatever. Like, I do all my stuff in an RV and I travel around the US, because people are like, oh, you must have a fancy office. You must have all this. I'm like, I don't want all that. I don't need all that to do what I need to
do. Nicely put. The idea about a stalking or retargeting, like your leads on your spreadsheet. That's definitely a good tactic. That's something I never thought of. But obviously it would be very effective, because it really, they've seen you several times before you even contact them in a semi-organic way. And it really raises your status in their eyes, to where, like, because they probably get like 10 emails a week from random video editors potentially. And whether
they
may
get 10 a day. They may get 10 a day.
Yeah. But doing something like that makes you stand out. Like, oh, well, I've seen this. Well, for one thing, I've actually seen this person. You could also make the case that they may not even be seeing your emails. It might be going to the spam box where they see it, but they don't click on anything. So there's not a face that they could, or a logo or whatever you're using. But if you've done that strategy and then you do your outreach strategy via email or LinkedIn or whatever, this might be the 5th or 6th time they've seen you. It's like, they'll probably be more likely to actually stop and listen or read, or maybe even check out your portfolio just to verify the work. And this is when you start getting replies like, hey, what time?
So and people may be going, okay, what would I retarget people? Right? Can I tell people? Can we talk about that for maybe a minute? So that way we can actually help people maybe go and implement a campaign today. Because if you can implement this campaign today or before Friday, you'll win. I'll promise you. So here's some easy content to create, specifically videos, and you need nothing more than your cell phone, right? So look at 10 frequently asked questions people should ask when hiring a video editor for their podcast, for example. Right? This won't matter. 10 frequently asked questions you should ask your lawn care company before you sign on the dotted line. Right? Doesn't really matter. There's 10 frequently asked questions, and then there's 10 should ask questions. Right? Or the other way you can spin it is, don't make these 3 mistakes when you hire a video editor because you didn't ask this one question. Right? You make a 2-minute, 60-second, 5-minute video, you edit it all up, that's your ad. But the thing is if you can have a series, like, so I just took a whole bunch of podcast interviews I've been doing with some of the people I'm doing our promotions for, and we literally just turned them into 40 different retargeting ads, and we're uploading all of those ads, and they're all 15 to 30-second things, right? So that way they'll show as stories, they'll show in different feeds, and then they're just short retargeting ads that I just want our stuff in front of them. I just want our message in front of them. And that's going to rotate so much content.
Wow. You know what? We're actually kind of jumping ahead of the game. Not like in this show, but I mean like into next season, because I've been committed. So I don't want people to get on my neck about like what I officially said what season 3 is going to be. I'm thinking about it, for the record. But most likely, I want the theme of season 3 to actually be content creation. And I don't necessarily mean like, creating a YouTube channel and get it monetized or whatever, even though, I mean, you could do that. But I mean, like, specifically for your business as a freelancer, content creation has so many benefits to you when it comes to lead generation and just various things. If you know how to create content, you gave another way of how content creation can be useful, but creating SOPs, that's a form of content creation. It's so applicable to business in general. It's not just
your SOPs. Yeah,
Yeah.
share the SOPs as lead generation tools, lead magnets. Lead magnets is the bait you go fishing with. Costco has the $4 chicken, right? Everyone knows it, right? They have something that's just a ridiculous price, right? So what is your $4.95 chicken?
Right. I like that metaphor because a lot of people are gonna visualize that, so they're gonna remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is actually a good question because some people are curious about this. One of my contacts sent me this video, and there's this video of this guy getting called to confirm an appointment, and supposedly it was completely AI. And the guy asked a lot of like questions since he knew it was AI. He was trying to basically get it to screw up, but it never did. And he decided to go ahead and confirm the appointment for the client. And I was just like, wow, that is so like badass.
Yeah.
Like,
So those dialer systems are available for anyone to start using. They maybe cost $300 a month.
okay.
The more you can automate answering your phone, and you literally train it on your content. Here's how we do this. Here's our hours of operation. Here's our products we offer. But you've got to have this material. You can't just have a web page with nothing. You need to actually have the web page with all the content, the Chinese menu of products. You got to have some blog posts. The better you train it, it can answer all of the questions. Hey, do you take credit card? Can I pay with Amex? Hey, can I split a payment in two? Like, what are the 50 frequently asked questions that you get just even before they buy from you? They don't go, oh, here's a contract, sign. It's like, hey, what about this? What about that? Like, that's what you want to train the AI on. So when it calls, it can answer these little questions.
Right. Yeah, because that was the question I was going to ask is like, is there AI software out there that can call prospects and even like set appointments? But you just
100%.
gave a good example of one. So yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So this is a good question because you've been exposed. Well, not only do you have an AI company, but you've been exposed to plenty of AIs throughout the years. In your opinion, compared to all the other AIs out there, do you feel that ChatGPT is overrated?
No. ChatGPT, for a lot of people, is underutilized because people don't know how to use it. So it's overrated because they don't know how powerful it is and what it can do for them and the freedom ChatGPT could create for you. So the thing is once it starts creating you freedom and start giving you choices, it's not overrated. When it's overrated because you're underrated. That's the problem. So what's overrated is how many new AI tools that are out there. And one of the worst things you want to do is buy an AI tool and never deploy it. If you buy a tool, commit 30 days to deploy this tool. Become a pro in this tool. Don't race off and get another tool because there's no point having 20 AI subscriptions because you'll be able to surprise. A $20 ChatGPT subscription could be all you need. Need and want are two conflicting problems with entrepreneurs.
Ooh, you might want. I don't know if that's trademarked, but if it is, you might want to trademark that and get paid, make some money. That statement because it's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can. I might be exposing myself, but I can live with the result. But one thing I don't like, for the most part, I'm not the biggest fan of writing emails. Not in terms of outreach is fine, but once like really just for content creation, I don't really like writing emails. It's very energy draining for me. I guess that's my roots. I'm a salesperson. That's why I prefer to be out there talking to people. So I have to sit down and actually write this email, and like it's tiring. And one day I just thought,
that's the mistake. You shouldn't be writing the email. You should literally be uploading a video or uploading an audio of you just talking the email and have ChatGPT turn it into 5 different emails I could send.
But that's exactly what I did. One day I said, you know what? I'm going to have ChatGPT do this for me. So I gave one of my friends a call, Nikki Connected. Some of y'all might remember her. She's the voice actress I've had on in season 1. But she has trained ChatGPT to pretty much be a clone of her in every way possible.
Mm-hmm.
So she fed it all the information about her, and then she knows how to use the prompt. So I gave her a call, like, okay, so how do you work your magic with ChatGPT? And she told me. So I gave it all the information on me, and then on whenever I think where people are missing the ball, they don't give enough information to ChatGPT. Number one, and number two, they don't use the prompts well enough. They put something that's very generic, but the more specific.
Well, can I explain the prompting solution?
Feel free. Yeah, feel free.
Like, I train people in this all the time, and they're like, they get blown away because they're like, okay, what's the secret prompt you use? I talk to ChatGPT like I'm talking to an assistant in the Philippines. I start my chat session with, hey, how you doing? Right? I want to achieve this goal. If I give you some information, would you be able to help me in getting to this goal? Right? I want to achieve this goal of writing 5 follow-up emails that I can use for clients, blah, blah, blah. But I need to teach you first about the products and services on who we're offering. So here's who we're offering it to. This is what we're doing. Hey, I've written 3 books about these products already. Can I upload those books for you to use that knowledge in the email series? Or I've got 3 videos, or I've got a podcast, or I've got whatever. Upload it. And then it uploads it. It transcribes it. It analyzes it. I go, okay, great. Now use that. And then here's the link to the website. Here's our company name. Here's our phone number. Here's our customer support. Now, I'm trying to get the attention of, let's say, the manager at an IT company, right? How would I write a cold email to get their interest and attention on this topic, right? And then here's the little secret. It'll spit out an email. I'm like, and I ask it one little question that can transform the results. Do you want to know what that is? Or can you guess what that is?
I'm gonna take a rain check on there. Why don't you tell me?
So if people aren't paying attention, what I just did is an engagement technology and an engagement methodology to actually like create conversation. You're asking people questions, right? So quality questions create a quality life. Just remember that one. So what I asked ChatGPT is, based on what you just wrote, how would you improve it, and what should we do to make this even better? And you know what it'll do? It'll analyze what it's done. And it's just like, oh, we missed this, this, and this, and this. I'm like, is that the best email we could probably send? And it'll even write it again in a better way. And all of a sudden, you've now created something that was good. Metagrate. Deploy it. That's it. That's the secret. Talk to it like you're talking to a 5-year-old child. And when you do that, you never have to worry about a prompt. There's no secret prompt you need to then get.
So it's a mentality.
Yeah. Yeah. Because remember, ChatGPT is trained on the world, not your world. Your job is to train it on your world. And if you don't know what your world is, well, you're SOL.
Yeah, you got some introspecting that you need to do before you can leverage it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a lifesaver for me. Now, have I used it to the extreme degree that you just mentioned? Not quite. So I picked up some golden nuggets that you dropped there. I would say I was probably like 60% of what you said, but the extra 40% you gave, you're giving me some ideas. But yeah, it's definitely changed the game for me, not just in business, but also there are things that I do that are not really about making money. Like I have a vegan meetup group because I'm a vegan myself called the Veggie Outers. And we go to vegan restaurants and review them on a scale of 1 to 10. And, that has its own email list. Now, that'd be full transparency. That's sponsored by my businesses, and some of them do purchase things from that. But same thing applies. I don't like writing emails for that either. And I've ever since I started using ChatGPT, all I'm really doing is inserting the link to whatever I want them to do, like watch this review or click here to RSVP. I'm just inserting links, and I'm loving it.
We've probably got a fantastic partnership or a collaboration we could do around that group, and just because of the company I just took over. So yeah, the opportunities are endless because vegans are very interested in holistic healthcare, and this is one of the things. if you're side hustling, your opportunities are absolutely everywhere. So it is important on what you say no to, right? So your no list needs to be defined from a service offering, but you also need to understand sometimes you've got to say yes to stuff to open doors. And you might be surprised what happens or when a relationship evolves into a transactional. It's very, very important.
Nicely put. And probably after this, I wouldn't mind getting some more details about that health and wellness company that you mentioned. We might have to talk about that. But I would say we're gonna.
Why don't we do something live really quickly for people who are side hustling and they're like, hey, I might be interested in something too, right? You okay with that? Because there's nothing better than a real world case study, a real world example, right? And a lot of side hustling people, like they're always looking for some new shiny product to offer. The problem with shiny and the problem with offering AI stuff sometimes is when ChatGPT makes it a default feature and it's included on their $20 a month subscription, what the hell are you going to do? Why are they paying you $500 a month for it? Like, this is a real problem. And there's so many of these businesses that literally they last 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, they're gone. So finding solutions to problems that you could be solving for 10 years is how you create a business. So one of the things I was really passionate about is I was health and wellness, right? We went through 6 years of IVF infertility treatment. So I learned a lot about the joys and challenges of just fertility, right? And so when this company came up on my radar, I jumped at it. So literally, I took over an essential oils company. It's a very populated market. And I took over this company that literally has these Native American supplements. So they're accessing Native American supplements that are 100% Native American and sacramental. So the thing is like they've been used for thousands of years. Like black cumin has been shown, black cumin, C-U-I-M, the spice, has been shown to be more effective than chemotherapy, right? So they've actually done blind side-by-side studies of taking cumin and then having chemotherapy, which destroys your immune system. Cumin was more effective without the side effects. So we've got like these supplements you can take, and they're just droppers you can drop in your tea or what have you. But we've got pure essential oils as well, right? So we've got a lot of clients who've had cancers, had illnesses, have upset stomach issues, their gut lining, all this type of stuff, and they take our natural medicine, which is our mushroom is 1,000 times more potent than lion's mane. So one of the things, if you've got a side hustle, what you want to capture, what I'm doing is I'm telling stories. And a lot of people, when they're telling stories about their service or their product, they're always trying to sell the features and the benefits. Nobody cares.
But that information's already out there.
Yeah, they're like, nobody cares. So the thing is what we're doing for people and what makes us different is we've created our company's called Bare Remedy, right? Because it's pure product, therapeutic products, no fillers, no synthetics anywhere. A lot of the companies out there, I wasn't aware of this, they use synthetic oils and they call it natural because I wasn't aware. To have a product called natural, according to the FDA, you only need 3% of the product to be natural. 3%. Yeah. So 97% of the product can be cancer causing. And that's okay because it's natural and organic. Right? So we actually pride ourselves on 100% pure product. So you can use less of our product, but it's more effective for you. So what we're doing for micro influencers, companies, and all that type of stuff, we're doing co-labeled bottles. So you could actually have the vegan group actually their own supplement line, which is co-labeled or fully white labeled, and we even drop ship it all for you. Like, so you don't even need to do fulfillment. You just showcase it, show it to people, show people these new mushrooms that I know have helped with my ADHD. It's undiagnosed, of course, but like I know I struggled with ADHD. And I know I had I lactose intolerant for years. I didn't know about it. I loved ice cream. I just had to run to the bathroom within 5 minutes of eating an ice cream, but I wasn't aware of the damage I did to my stomach lining, if that makes sense. So, yeah, so like we're recruiting direct sales distributors for us and affiliates, and we literally sign up our influencers as affiliates, and they get paid a commission on the life of the product sales they generate. So now, for a lot of people who are building an audience and are following, they're always looking for, how do I create monetization strategies that aren't just a flash in the pan? Because you made $1,000 one day, but how do you make $1,000 every week for the next 52 weeks? Now you got a business. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it does make sense. But since this could be kind of like a live workshop of going back and forth on this thing, because health and wellness is actually a second passion of mine, especially like essential oils. I've actually known people who have had SIBO, so they've had like problems like bloating, and then they go take the antibiotics, which is going to enter another stream of problems. But if they were actually going to take some organic oil, the essential oil, and just put a few drops of it in a carrier oil, like black seed oil, and take that on a regular basis. Well, not on a regular basis, but over a period of 3 to 6 weeks, as long as they're not eating, their diet is trash, that will actually solve the problem without the detriments of taking the antibiotics. And that's just one.
And what you're talking about, though, is making sure you also have pure oils. And one of the things that they're starting to have research about is, yes, you can synthetically make these oils and you can get it for $5 at some of the convenience stores, right? But the thing is that's pretty much petroleum, right? And the thing is if it's synthetic, right? If it's synthetic, it doesn't have the life force, the life energy of the plant. And there's been research studies on water for years about like just how you can, the energy that you put on the water bottle changes the molecule, right? So they're starting to actually have some research around the importance, because yes, they can synthetically replicate the compound, but they can't synthetically replicate the therapeutic benefit. And like I actually was this coach I just bought from the guy, right? He would do he'd turn around like this because he couldn't turn his neck. His like neck was frozen, right?
Oh.
I actually gave him one of these oils. I said, be careful. This is pure. You're going to put a few drops of this on your neck, right? And you're going to feel it burn, but it's going to be a good burn because it's going to get into the muscle.
Yeah.
And he said literally within 45 minutes, his neck pain dropped from a 10 to a 3. And the next day when we went driving, he was literally doing this. He was mirror checking. He said, Ben, I haven't been able to mirror check. Like, he goes, for maybe 10 years.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that made backing out the driveway quite a challenge, right?
Oh, 100%. Right. So, like, the thing is like, and it's just these little things, that impact you can have on people, but that's created now a customer for life. One simple conversation. So one of the things you want to think about this is why customization is problematic, right? Because if I had to customize that for him every single time, how do I scale this? Where the thing is what we're doing is we're creating custom blend kits to help support your personal condition, right? So you don't need 100 oils when we can blend in your best 3, your best 5, the 10. Like, and this is where it gets fun, because now we can collaborate with people, because there's mindset oils, there's stuff for depression. I wasn't aware that with these type of products, you can actually release emotional trauma just through smelling it. And if you think you don't have emotional trauma, I would highly recommend that you raise your left hand up to about, I don't know, like a nose high, and literally move it across your face really quickly, because you need to wake up. We've all got emotional trauma, big, small, indifferent.
Right. Kind of like how lavender is very good for nerves, that kind of thing.
100%. 100%. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun doing these workshops now. We actually train people on how to have health conversations, how to run a workshop and experiment with emotional releasing. We're actually going to be certifying medicine men and women who are holistic medicine practitioners. This is a whole new world, because the drug industry is this, it's not sexy. And when you go into a hospital, you may not get the solution you're actually looking for.
I'm kind of bringing the conversation back to like it being like a live workshop. Those are great opportunities you presented, but then I would ask, in terms of what you're creating, do y'all have a budget for sponsoring content by any chance? If someone was to, if you were to partner with someone and they could help get the information or your name out there about this, do you have a budget for, just sponsoring, whether it be Instagram or YouTube or like physical meetups, like I'm talking about, where you'd be the sponsor before we begin? I would personally shout out like your products and the effectiveness of it. Do y'all have a budget for that?
Yeah, all within reason, because what we do is we deduct that from the affiliate commission you would have got paid, right? So the thing is like, do you want to have the long-term subscription benefit, or do you want to get $50 for a post? Like, so these are the conversations, and some people, oh no, I just want $50 for the post right now. Okay, great. So you understand that if you sell $50,000 worth of product, like you got $50. Oh no, I wasn't aware of that's how the math works. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? Like. I'll literally pay you 20% of the products for life of the customer, or $50 or whatever the post is, right? Like we are always within reason. And like, we know that when we get people who also believe in the product, the content's 1,000 times better. So it's not just because one of the challenges is content creators have is UGI, which is user generated AI, or UGC, user generated content. Some of the AI tools that are available for that right now convert better than real people.
Interesting. Yeah, I think this was a very good live in person. Well, technically not in person, but as close to in person as we could get. Conversation where the audience could benefit from just seeing a little of what we're talking about. And this was a
100%.
very organic thing that happened. And I mean, I didn't even know about the company that you had mentioned until you brought it up here.
Yeah. And this is one of the best ways to learn. I love doing hot seats and workshops. And look, you might be like, Ben, I don't want to be in a supplement business or healthcare business. That's great. But what we've been talking about right now applies to every single business out there. It's an affiliate referral program. It is a referral acquisition program. How are you asking for referrals? How are you managing leads? How are you rewarding referrals? How are you incentivizing people to talk about your products? Like, that applies to every single business out there.
And this is where I think freelancers are really dropping the ball. In terms of inbound marketing, they don't have a referral program. And that's just, automation is one way of getting leads, but a referral is the best type of lead that you can get. And if you just have a simple program in place, you're incentivizing people to take advantage of it. Make sure you have a FAQ section on your website or webpage. That way, if they start getting swarmed with questions, they don't want to be a salesperson, so maybe they'll stop, but they can just send them to your webpage that has all these FAQs. This is where you start getting the call, like, hey, so I checked your race. My friend told you about me, and I have the budget for it. Like, how do we get started? The sales was done pretty much for you. The only thing that's being done. So yeah, have a referral program. I've been saying that for the longest.
Yeah, and WordPress, like, you might pay $250, $300 for a plugin to do it, like a year, and that one thing could literally manage 1,000, 10,000 referrals. If you had 10,000, like, turn every client into a referral. This is how those Shopify stores and all this type of stuff, they make $2 million a month, because this is what they're doing.
Right. So I would say we're going to start winding down. I do have one last question, because some people, I guess I can't blame people for having this perception, but we focused a lot on people who have online services to offer, or people think that we focused a lot on that. But some people may think that AI doesn't really have a place among like blue collar workers or blue collar freelancers. Would you say that that's the case, or that's just a fallacy? Because a lot of what we talked about can be applied to them too.
That's a fallacy. There's AI tools that are now out there, from tape measuring devices that are literally 3D map and connect imagery and more accurate measuring connecting to your Android or iPhone. So you can literally just walk around, you can take photos and videos, and it'll auto map into, once again, your quoting system. I don't care if you're delivering bread or if you're making sourdough or if you're putting in a pool. You quote, you get a proposal, you get an acceptance. Are you using e-sign? Or use some people, because they're side hustle, they still want them to sign the contract. Why? Automate that. Like, so here's the thing. AI should stand for automation. You can define it 1 million different ways. But if you're not using it to automate your boring, repetitive, tedious tasks, what the hell are you doing?
Nicely put. Nicely put. So I would say as we're winding down the show, I always ask my guests if they have a question that they want to hit me with. But audience has banned the question of why'd you start the Side Hustler Society? As you imagine, they've heard it a few times. So they're like, nah, we're not dealing with that anymore, Elijah. They got to ask something else. Do you have a question that you want to hit me with, Ben?
What's the one thing you wish people would take action on today?
Honestly, among freelancers, having a web page or a website, it baffles me that there's still people that put in the work to get their trader skill, whatever it may be. And at the very least, they put up so much resistance. Well, they don't put any resistance, but they don't follow the advice of having a web page or a website. Maybe they're comfortable with maybe just using social media, which if we're going to be 100%, that's not really safe, because if you piss them off for whatever reason and they kick you off, you lost all your contacts, like just everything. And you don't really have a media representation of your business. So at the very minimum, just having a web page that's a place that can have FAQs, have testimonials or your portfolio and your rates, your prices, that goes such a long way. But a lot of people, that requires them to actually either build a website or a web page themselves, which they don't have to do. You can go on Fiverr and get it done for like $100, $200, but they don't want to take that first administrative step. And if they did that, they would close so many more clients. Because speaking from personal experience, I work with freelancers too. I don't design my thumbnails. I have someone that designs them for me. Like, when someone approaches me as a freelancer for like a service they offer, one of the things I ask is, okay, do you have a website? And if the answer is no, I kind of get the impression that you're not taking it serious yet. So like, you're at risk. So yeah, that's the biggest thing I wish people would act on like immediately, to be honest. Yeah, because as far as I'm concerned, you're not going to get out of the beginner level of freelancing until you have a website or a web page. And you're not going to really land these higher paying clients where you'll be on retainer with them as a freelancer for 6 to 12 months at a time. You're not going to get them without that set up. So just go ahead and set it up. Set yourself up for success.
100%. 100% agree. That's a great point. Yeah. Because remember, if they're hiring you, they also have to justify to somebody else why they hired you and not somebody else. So the thing is that if you're not making it easy for them to justify why you, then you're making it harder for them.
Right. And you potentially will set them up for their ego to get bruised. And you definitely don't want that. You won't be sticking around, I'll say that for sure. Yeah. So Ben, I'll say we're definitely we have went over the hour mark, so we're gonna go ahead and start winding down. But where can people get more of you, and where can people get more of your business?
Yeah, so I would just reach out to, I'll give them the good one, help@baremedy.net. That's help at BARE remedy, REMEDY.net. If you reach out to that, more than happy to give you some brainstorming sessions, show you what's going on, or reward you in any way you want to get rewarded. So I'm happy to support your listeners in any way they need.
Okay, we'll be sure to leave that link in the description. So we're going to go ahead and conclude this episode of the Side Hustle Society podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can give us a thumbs up for that algorithm. Greatly appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And since we now have our video podcast on Spotify, since they just started supporting video, if you can drop a review for us, that would be greatly appreciated. We'll catch y'all in the next episode. And like I like to say at the end of every episode, be safe and be profitable, everyone.
This episode may be over, but your hustling journey has just started. Visit thesidehustlersociety.com to access all links and resources mentioned in the show that will help you on your hustler's journey.